What is the most bad-ass thing you ever did? I'll gladly start. One day I was out fishing at a local pond with a few girls that I went to school with. We had gotten close because of honors society. Yes, they're attractive. We catch a few bass and channel catfish, and decide it is time to head home before dusk sets tonight. Mind you, there is about a 150 to 200 yard path from the parking lot to the actual pond, so we started heading down said path. As we get about halfway down, we see two local thugs who have dropped out of high school, and are always around to cause trouble in our town. Since I am carrying all of the tackle, for non-fishermen, rods, lures, tackle box, etc. I am also trailing the three girls. As we get closer to the thugs, I hear them yelling bullshit like,
"Damn. Mommy, look at that ass."
And,
"Shit, I'd every single one of you."
Right in front of the girls. Next, the guy in front turns around and grabs one of my friend's asses and slaps her right in the boob. This pissed me off more than anything, and I stupidly yell, "Hey fuckasses. Don't even look at them." I admit, I'm a little hot-tempered, and probably could have handled the situation much better, but fuck it, I was in the heat of the moment. The two guys start walking over to me, obviously ready to beat my ass. With quick thinking I dropped my tackle and flipped out my 4-inch Smith & Wesson knife from my pocket, and to put the icing on the cake I pulled out my carver that I use for filleting. After this the story kind of winds down. The dudes were silent after that, took a very wide path around us, and we were on our way. Needless to say, that was my great, "don't fuck with me" moment.
I worked for an army base as a barista. I was one of not many women on base who spoke good English. I was approached more often than I wanted to. There were two coffee shops on base. One of them was located near the general area, where all the captains and high-ranked people would work. This is where I was typically assigned to work. One day this guy who works for security on base came to get his coffee, and asked,
"So, why do you look so good every day?"
Confused by this question, I simply said, because I want to." The guy proceeds to tell me his theory on why I tried to look so good on base. I was on uniform with minimal makeup. He continues telling me that,
"Ah, I see what's going on. You're trying to get yourself a rich American. That's why you work where all the captains, majors and others work."
I didn't comment on it, gave him his coffee and proceeded to do my job. Days later he comes back and asks me for my number. Since he had called me a gold digger, I say, "You don't reach the standard to get my number, you're just a security guard, and we both know I'm trying to get me a rich American." I'm pretty proud of myself for that one. I was 20.
I have an older gay brother. It was pretty well known he was gay in high school, but nobody ever flat out asked me about it. One day, two guys from the football team, both juniors, are giving me a hard time. Suddenly, my brother walks over and says,
"Hey, leave him alone, this isn't a request."
One guy replies,
"Shut up. Faggot, what are you going to do?"
My brother's answer still sticks with me to this day.
See, you should think about that. I've been a faggot as long as I can remember, which means I got into fights every day, so I know I can fight. How about you? Can you actually fight? Or do you just try to scare people? Because you don't scare me. I've guys bigger than you. Again, leave my brother alone.
Fuck you. Fag.
You're not my type. I like men.
At this point, a little crowd had gathered, and they began to laugh at my brother's last comment. The two guys scowled, huffed, and walked away. My brother looked at me, smiled, and said,
"Sorry if that was awkward."
"No, I ain't trying to fuck you. I don't fuck pussy."
Whoa. I'm keeping that one, in case I ever turn gay.
My girlfriend has a watch and a ring of great sentimental value, that she had left at my apartment last summer, right before I moved in with her. Knowing the vast importance of these items, I put them in a chest of drawers that I know I'll be moving. For the move, I hired a cleaning crew to help me pack and clean my apartment. As is typical, in the southern US, the cleaning crew was composed 100% of undocumented, Hispanic, non-English speaking workers. I have no problem with this whatsoever. But that's for a different thread. I'm friendly with these women. I gave them anything I didn't want to keep out of the apartment, some beers, and tipped them well. I get to my girlfriend's house with the U-Haul, and as we're unpacking, come to realize that her watch and ring are missing. She is not happy, and this whole living together thing is off to a very rough start. I tell her that the cleaning crew must have taken them, that I was 100% positive they were in the chest of drawers, but she thinks I'm bullshitting to mask my carelessness. I call the company the next day to politely ask to speak with one of the women. I speak Spanish.
We don't do that.
You can't let me talk to the woman. Can you take a message?
No, well, I can take a message, but she's not in here very often.
The receptionist sounds about 18, and hardly the university-bound type. I decide that there is a 0% chance of her being able to outsmart me, so I call back about 2 hours later.
Hi, this is Tony Stark. I'm an attorney for the INS following up on a complaint about the hiring of undocumented workers. As this is a government-sanctioned investigation, you can be held personally liable for a fine of up to $250,000 and 30 days imprisonment if you interfere or withhold information.
This is not even remotely based in fact. The girl shits brick, me continuing.
So the first thing I'll need are the names, home addresses, and social security numbers for the 3 women cleaning that man's house yesterday, since this is the origin of the complaint.
If I'm going to get outed, this would be the time. The girl couldn't get me the information fast enough. I write it all down. I call the woman in charge, and give her an easy way to opt out. I know I gave you a bag of stuff yesterday. I think I mistakenly left these things in there.
No recuerdo haberlo visto.
Could you check, and maybe call the other woman? This is really important. I can pay you. Look, this woman scrapes by. I get it. She cleans a nice apartment for a working, single guy. Jewelry or cash is a bonus. I just want this back so my girlfriend doesn't shank me in my sleep.
No creo que lo tenemos. Me tengo que ir.
Listen, I didn't want it to come to this, but my friend is an INS agent, and he's right down the street from your address. He said he could stop by and make sure your visa for social security number is in order. If it's not, you could be deported this week.
Oh, Dios mío. Está bien, yo le hablaré a la otra señora y lo agarro para atrás.
No question about how I got the info. I drive to go pick her stuff up, and all ends well.
Nothing like committing a felony to rectify a misdemeanor. This wasn't me, because I am not nearly badass enough to do anything like this. My friend's dad is a truck driver, and he used to pick up hitchhikers all the time. One time, he picked up 2 of them, and they started on the journey to wherever they were going. After an hour, one decides he's going to try and jack the truck, and pulls out a knife. Well, my friend's dad, being super badass, floors it, and says,
"You're going to put that knife away, or I'm going to kill us all."
And steers directly towards the concrete dividers that were splitting the highway up ahead. The would-be truck jackers put away the knife and sit quietly for the rest of the ride, and he still drops them off at their destination.
Badass motherfucker right there, must have had a mustache to store his extra testicle. I was living with a middle-aged woman. Since I am middle-aged as well, this was a fairly decent arrangement. Her daughter was living with us as well, 17 years old and hell on wheels. From what I understand, one of her former boyfriends became upset with her because she had a new boyfriend. He was going to come to my home and beat the shit out of her under my roof. He said that if I got in his way, he was going to beat my ass as well. A friend of hers caught wind of what was happening and called her mother. She called me. The boy showed up with an audience. I greeted them just by poking my head out of the door and telling them to get the fuck off of my property. Asshole gets out of the vehicle. I open the door and he can see that I'm packing a .45 in a shoulder rig. I also have an 870 by the door. I hear a forlorn
"Hi, Brer Rabbit."
from his friend that came along to witness him beating my ass. I repeat my demands that the man remove himself from my property and he complied. It could have been the gun, then again it could have been the shovel leaning against my truck and the fact that no one would come looking for him if he disappeared that far from town. When I was 15 years old, I pulled a dude off a train track before being run over by a train. It was me and a drunk dude late at night waiting for the train in my hometown, and I saw him stumbling around close to the tracks. And then he just fell on the tracks. I shouted a few times to him if he was okay. but no response or movement. And just a few seconds later I see in the distance a train is coming, though not a train that is going to stop at this station, so it is coming in, real fast. I didn't really have a lot of time to think, so I ran over, jumped down onto the tracks and hauled the guy from the tracks maybe just 3 seconds before the train zoomed by. Was super scary and I still have some bad dreams about this, but also proud that I acted during that moment.
That is crazy badass, well done.
You would probably be having worse dreams if you did nothing though.
Someone threatened to sneak into my house and kill me in my sleep. In one swift motion, I picked up a beer bottle and slammed it down, shattering half of it, pointed it at him, and said,
"I guess I'll just have to kill you now then."
I was pretty drunk and have no idea where that came from. With one throw, sent 2 tea bags at 2 mugs, both nestled perfectly into place. Girlfriend witnessed it and swooned. I acted nonchalantly, but inside I was screaming, "Source, I'm British."
You didn't have to include the fact that you were British, it's pretty obvious.
In high school, I watched a kid in the middle of the classroom put like 3 pieces of gum between the fingers on one hand, like ninja stars, and threw one piece to 3 different people in 3 corners of the room with a single flick of his wrist. We were all convinced he was a wizard or something. I ended an Uber trip. I would have said, "Thanks," but by some reason I said, "Happy birthday." It was really his birthday.
I have a similar one. I got given a nice expensive bottle of scotch that I didn't want to have in the house. I knew a guy at my office liked scotch and we were pretty good friends and he always had my back, so I decided to take this bottle in and give it to him. I saw him mid-morning and gave him the bottle and jokingly said, "Happy birthday." It turned out to be his actual 30th birthday, and he walked away thinking the team had gotten him an expensive and considerate gift, based on his milestone birthday and liking for scotch. He had a big smile all day and looked so stoked that we had done that for him. The whole team just played along and let him have his feel-good moment.
I went to the grocery store specifically for eggs. It was the only thing I needed, and someone was blocking my way, so I said, "Excuse me," and made an old man roar with laughter. Greatest achievement ever.
There is absolutely no better rush than making a stranger laugh at your joke.
Exactly. I got stabbed and drove myself on a moped to a hospital, realizing I wanted a joint afterwards. I went to a coffee shop first to get some green, knowing that by the time I was going to be released from the hospital all the coffee shops would be closed. It was nighttime. I'm not too proud of this story necessarily, but my friends always call it my badass story.
Gotta have your priorities in line. Wanting a toke after getting stabbed is reasonable in my books.
I hopped on a slow-moving freight train from the far side of town, to get near my house, after leaving a party at about 4 a.m.
Are you a rebel teenager in an 80s movie by any chance?
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and ring the notification bell.